What's up, guys? Here with you at FC Wonderkid, episode 76. Here with my guy, Brenton. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I am excited to get started on episode 76. It's ridiculous that is the number we are up to now. But more importantly, dude, we are getting so very close to a little something called the World Cup. And I cannot get more excited. And there's nothing better than that, than having what? How many games do they have to play before this World Cup starts? Like 37 games in the next 30 days or something? I know it's not that many. But it feels like this club schedule is going to get ridiculously congested up until the World Cup time. And there's a lot to talk about. But first, how you doing, man? You doing good?
I'm doing all right. And you said about all those games that are happening. And hopefully we do not see a lot of injuries. And hopefully too, man. You know I back Minch all the way. And he's going to be back in 1 month's time, okay? That injury got me a bit scared. But for then, Sunch, rest assured, he will be back in time. But you said, how is I doing? And I got to ask you, how are you doing with Chelsea, Brenton? Todd Boehly era is going bold now. Graham Potter, 3 wins out of 4 games. And 8 goals scored in his last 3 games and 1 goal conceded. So great football by Chelsea too. So is it a good change at Chelsea?
It is. And, you know, Brighton is still playing good football. So post-Potter era, no, Graham Potter at Chelsea, we obviously wanted that to work. And it seems like it's working. But I caution that it is a small sample size so far. AC Milan was not the AC Milan that we know. They did not have Theo Hernandez on the left. They had Foto Ballo-Touré or somebody like that. They had a bunch of injuries that they had to worry about. And they also had Fikayo Tomori, probably had one of the worst games that I've seen him have for Milan in the last 12 months, maybe.
He flipped the script, though. He flipped the script against Juve.
He did. Exactly. He absolutely did, and we'll talk about that when we get to Serie A. Yes. But no, Graham Potter, they're playing enlivened football. Mason Mount is off the mark. You've got Christian Pulisic had a phenomenal game over the weekend.
Yes.
I know he could have scored. Yeah, he could have scored 1 or 2 more, but ultimately he did get one. It was a nice kind of bad angle finish.
Yes.
But yeah, when it comes down to it, Todd Boehly, Chelsea,
top
Graham
4.
Potter.
Is Chelsea gonna get top 4 this season with Graham Potter?
Well, if they start Trevor Chalobah,
true,
they'll never lose, right? So if he continues to, for those that don't know this, Chalobah, when he is in the back, when he is starting, I believe it's 27 starts, 26. Or 26 starts. 26 starts. They are unbeaten. Yes. Chelsea is unbeaten in 26 starts with Chalobah starting in that back 3, whatever, in that defense.
And 9 draws. That is ridiculous. And Chalobah is so fast. In a 3 center back formation, Chalobah does what he's gotta do. Complete facts. And I gotta say with Graham Potter too, he's playing Ben Chilwell and Reece James. And right now, they seem to be the best fullback duo in the Premier League. Right now, in English too. So Southgate, you know what to do in this World Cup, okay? But Luke Shaw for the national team is different. So Ben Chilwell, you have a bit more competition there. But Pulisic, though, Pulisic is staying, you reckon?
Yeah, well, obviously he's stuck with staying as it stands. But, you know, I honestly don't – I would still think he looks to exit. I would still think that he's keen to exit. It's whether or not Todd Boehly, as an American, knowing the media importance of a Christian Pulisic in the Chelsea ranks, he might not want to let him go. But when it comes down to it, the fact that he's getting game time, we're a month away from the World Cup. We saw a little glimmer of what makes Christian Pulisic special.
Facts.
All I care about is whether or not he's in form for the World Cup, and whatever happens after that. But if you're looking at his club future, it's likely he still has to leave. AC Milan, I mean, Juve needs all the help they can get, but they got to get rid of Allegri before they do that. So, yeah. But you know what? Christian Pulisic was not the star of the show. It was Reece James. You brought it up already.
Yes.
And some other news that came out, obviously, in England, which is incredibly unfortunate. But we had our first big casualty, or our first big loss, or one of the first big losses for the World Cup upcoming, and that is the fact that Kyle Walker will not be going, likely, unless he has some miraculous recovery, will not be going to the World Cup with England, which essentially opens up, once Reece James clears Rafael Leao out of his pocket for the coming week. Just kidding. Once Reece James, somebody needs to wrap him in bubble wrap, because I gotta say, if that wasn't this past week for Reece James wasn't a testament to why you probably need him to start for England over Trent Alexander-Arnold, over Kieran Trippier, I don't know what is.
He starts.
And I just got to ask you, start, bench, sell? You've got him starting?
Reece James starts, Trent bench, and Kieran Trippier sell, in my opinion, this season. Right backs for England. Yes.
Yeah, is it weird that Southgate probably doesn't share that same opinion?
For me, Southgate, I just don't get it, and I think this World Cup is gonna be the do or die. Of course it is, but it's it's the decision making too. Like, the biggest doubt I have with Southgate is Tomori going to start for England? Okay, will we see Maguire once again? Like, everyone knows, it's Stones and Tomori, the best duo. No Maguire. 4 starts this season. He doesn't win 1 game. So it doesn't make sense that he still gets the starting position. I don't get it. But sticking with Chelsea, Trevor Chalobah, underrated. Graham Potter, I think he's doing a great job. 3 wins out of 4 games. And Aspie staying. I want to give that a shout out to that. Aspilicueta staying at Chelsea is a huge difference maker, in my opinion, okay? A team like Barca that's full of center backs being injured now, they would love to have an Aspilicueta that could play right back and center back too, with the leadership skills he has. And last shout is who is Chelsea going to get next January? I want to see some comments down below of Chelsea suggestions, but there's 2 players I really think that Graham Potter will want to go to Chelsea. And I'm going to give a suggestion for the midfield position that I think will be, Loftus-Cheek ain't enough. I think Moises Caicedo or Milinkovic-Savic after the World Cup. I think those 2 would be elite and bold suggestions for Chelsea in that midfield role in January. And expensive too after the World Cup.
They will be expensive. They will be expensive. But Moises Caicedo, that I'm here for that every day of the week. As much as I would love him to stay at Brighton, but that is 100% on point, and we're going to have to probably talk about who else Todd Boehly goes for, because there is no way. There is no way that he stops there as he starts his quest to dominate, I guess, the Premier League and make money in the process.
And the sporting director, if he gets a Portuguese sporting director, they'll go to the Primeira Liga nonstop. So it's very interesting to see what will be the decision done by Todd Boehly. So many people, man. I've seen 5 to 10 names to have interviews for the sporting director role. So Todd Boehly is literally having a fun day, man, doing those interviews for sure.
And you know what? He hasn't stopped at players or personnel either. He clearly got Graham Potter, some sort of a fashion director of some sort, right? Because Graham Potter, when he was on Brighton's sideline, he looked like he just rolled in from his daughter's practice, right? He was dressed in sweatpants, t-shirt, and now you're looking at Graham Potter, you're like, hello, okay, all right. He dresses, he's all dapper, he's looking all good, he's having a lot of fun on that sideline. London will do that to you, I guess.
Oh my days, man. Meet me to the London. That's facts, man. Graham Potter's looking different too. So let's wait and see too if in the Champions League they go through with AC Milan. But that was a big, huge win, huge dub. And talking about huge dub, Champions League here, we can go here and switch with a 5-0 win from Man City against Copenhagen. And Erling Haaland cannot stop going bold, okay? He's got Erling Haaland has 20 goals already, and we're still still in October, man. 15 goals in the Prem, and he's only 8 goals away from the Golden Boot winner of last season in the Premier League.
Yeah.
That is insane, man. Just getting started once again. And Erling Haaland is reportedly earning £900,000 a week. The highest salary ever in Premier League history, okay? Surpassing Cristiano Ronaldo. And with it's not just goals too, as it seems. It's with the salary too. So Erling Haaland going bold.
And how's that compare to Mbappe's base salary?
Woohoo! It must be. It's a debate because the 300 million in 3 seasons, man. That's no joke, man. Oh my days.
It's unreal. I said it kind of jokingly, but now there's kind of a grain of truth to it. Last week, I said that Erling Haaland has essentially made the Premier League a farmers league. To be honest, he's basically broken it because, you know, we're looking now at we would be talking about right now Harry Kane on 8 goals. We'd be talking about, you know, some other great players that have really Trossard, but no, none of it means anything. He's got 15 goals in the Premier League, and he's already matched last year's leading scorer for Manchester City in the Premier League was Kevin De Bruyne with 15 goals. Kevin De Bruyne did it in 38 games, the full season. Erling Haaland has done it in 9. So I don't know what's going to happen over the next 29 games, but my guess is he's going to score a whole lot more. And it's the other thing I have to say here is, one, he should have had multiple goals against Southampton. He hit the post, which I didn't know was allowed. I mean, Erling Haaland, you got to strip his good striker card away from him because, come on, you hit the post, Erling Haaland. You're not supposed to do that. Yeah, exactly. No, but listen to this. This is from the Champions League perspective, and I got to give credit. I believe this was an ESPN stat. So definitely got to give credit to them on Twitter for this one. But Erling Haaland has as many Champions League goals as Luis Suarez. Okay,
more.
He does more now. You're right. Luis Suarez had 27. Okay, but Luis Suarez did it. He has now done it. Erling Haaland has now done it in 51 less games. 51 less games in the Champions League. 51 less games in the Champions League. That's not like that's like 5 years of Champions League play. It's unreal.
But I want to say this. I think peak Suarez is better than peak Haaland still. But in terms of stats, facts, 27 goals of Suarez and 28 of Haaland. And it's like Figo. It's Figo. It's Rivaldo. It's Mane. It's so many players have been surpassed by now. And it's like, where will he stop? And you said that normalization that, yes, Kane has 8 goals in 9 games. Mitrovic is going bold. Gabriel Jesus is having his best season so far in the Prem.
Yes.
And Haaland's like 15 goals, mate. Equal that. It's impossible. Monstrous numbers. And I want to see too Sergio Gomez now. With that Kyle Walker injury, Cancelo's going to the right, and I predict that a lot of more people will be talking about Sergio Gomez, that he was bold in assists at Anderlecht, and he's shown great signs with Pep Guardiola to start with Man City. I expect it to be great.
But like you even mentioning Sergio Gomez, it's absolutely wonderful because listen, everybody's talking about Erling Haaland, and it's a good and a bad thing. It's a double-edged sword because a lot of these Manchester City guys can just put their head down and play really good football. And let's not forget that literally they are playing really good football. I mean, Riyad Mahrez comes in right away. He needs to make an impact. He does over the last week. You've got
Foden.
Phil Foden has 4 goals in the last 2 games. But like nobody's talking about that. Why? Because Erling Haaland is a cyborg that stole Cristiano Ronaldo's, aerial ability. He's got somebody else's foot. I don't know. He literally is has the possibility. He has the possibility to be one of the best players ever.
Facts.
He does.
And Foden, you said it's got 9 games, 6 goals, 2 assists for Phil Foden. Like, he's going to hit double digits really early in Southgate. Yes. Play him the same way Pep plays him for Man City. It just makes sense, man, if you play your best players in their strengths. But Haaland, I saw this comparison a lot during the week, but I gotta say, this is for everyone, man. Haaland hasn't surpassed the levels of Ronaldo Nazario at 22, okay? He hasn't still. I think Ronaldo Nazario had 191 goals at 22 and 2 Ballon d'Ors, in which he carried a nation, Brazil, to win a World Cup, okay? So Ronaldo, until the age of 22, better than Haaland. But Erling Haaland can be a better player in terms of longevity. In 10, 15 years' time, Haaland can have a better career than Ronaldo Nazario. And let's see where's Haaland's peak, okay? Because we haven't seen it. But Ronaldo Nazario speaks better right now than Haaland's. That's fact, in my opinion.
And the thing is he's never going to reach the height of Ronaldo Nazario in international play.
I imagine if Norway win the Euros, though.
Oh, of course.
That would
be... It's never going to happen.
I don't put that limit on Haaland. Maybe because Portugal win it. The bias.
This is when it comes down to, it's still a team game, which is the great thing about the game and the bad thing about the game sometimes, because I'm sure every Norwegian fan would love to see Erling Haaland just steamroll every piece of competition he comes up against, and he just wins it all for them. But that's not how this works. It's not how this works at all. And Kylian Mbappé is kind of finding that out too. But anyway, I do have to say, hey, Ronaldo, you made that quick shout. I have to follow up here before I forget this, and it happened last week. But Ronaldo, as an owner right now, new lease on life. Ronaldo just helped Cruzeiro, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, in Brazil, win promotion back to the Serie A, Brasileirão. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, Brasileirão. Good stuff. He's the owner of Real Valladolid too, right?
Yep, he is. And but Cruzeiro, I mean, that's a big storied club that got relegated a while back, and to see them back in there, you can see he was pretty damn emotional about it. So good things come our way, and I know everybody joked about fat Ronaldo for the longest time and all that crap, right?
True.
I hope we never have to see a fat Haaland phase. Where people turn the tables on Haaland.
Man, he's huge though. Like he's so tall.
He is massive.
Imagine, it'd be Shaq. It'd be Shaq type beat.
All right. Well, have we hit our Erling Haaland quota? I feel like we have to stop talking about Erling Haaland after 5 minutes. Because listen, it is going to be very, very difficult for us to process this, because we are normalizing 20 goals right now, right? And you go back to Cristiano Ronaldo, you go back to Lionel Messi. And we can all remember, I think, what was it, 2008, 2009, or 09, 10 for Cristiano Ronaldo when he had 18 goals by October, something of that nature. But, this is unprecedented. What Erling Haaland is doing to this game right now, even if he's averaging 14 touches, he has just kind of, I don't know.
I see that too, man. His touches are improving too. The efficiency he's showing. And that's the scary part too. You can see how smart Guardiola really is. Even in his press conference now, I see he's saying Arsenal are the team to beat. It's not Man City people. So the mind games of Pep Guardiola are in at elite levels, and Erling Haaland is having to see this in person, the best view, the best seat to see a masterclass in football. So it's just the start with Erling Haaland, in my opinion.
It is.
But people, put down below in the comments, how many goals will Erling Haaland have, okay? I want to see some guesses in the comment section down below. But I said Kane, yeah? But Tottenham had a 1-0 win to Brighton. And Conte, man. Conte ball getting the wins that they need. And the top four is so interesting now with Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. Ain't looking good, man. So my top four guesses, they're in the mud right now.
I don't know. I mean, how bad was it? We're still pretty good right now. It's just Liverpool. It's just
what?
Bournemouth being above Liverpool in the table. Yes, Liverpool has 2 games in hand, but those games come against Arsenal. Yes, we are recording this before the Arsenal-Liverpool game that is coming up, just so people know.
Arsenal City,
but
oh my days.
Yeah, and then Liverpool's got Manchester City coming up next. So you're looking at literally the team that Liverpool beat 9-0, that everybody had as the basement dweller. everybody had as the basement dweller for the Premier League this season. Apparently, the best thing that AFC Bournemouth did was fire Scott Parker and go and get it's Gary O'Neill, right? Gary O'Neill. And now they're on a 5-game unbeaten streak. And they come back and they win a ridiculous game against Brendan Rodgers and Leicester City. And how that man still has a job, I have no clue. He needs to move on ASAP. And Leicester, they need new management like ASAP. And we might talk about them in a little bit. But yeah, that's really the only kind of major Newcastle in 5th.
I gotta say,
Bournemouth is
Newcastle.
high.
Gotta talk about Newcastle because when Eddie Howe started his job at Newcastle, they were 19th. And right now, Newcastle will be fighting for the top 6. I'm going to say that because they have a player like Brugge that gets 2 goals with ease, man. And they make the right decisions in the transfer business. Botmans, Dan Burns. Yes, Dan Burns, the right decision. Nick Pope, Alexander Isaac for 17 million. How many good strikers are available in today's game? Not a lot. So, again, I am going to match the energy of Newcastle because, what a team, man. They're gonna be top 6 in the next 3 years. Next 3 years.
And to repeat a point that you started with, which is really important, while Bruno Guimaraes is insanely important to this squad, and essentially with those 2 goals, like won that game for them this past weekend. It is not just there, right? Eddie Howe has leveled up a bunch of those players on that squad. Like this wasn't like, hey, we have the money, let's bring in a full new 11. That did not happen, right? In fact, you could even argue that from a financial perspective, it's been very prudent in how this team has been built so far, and there's a level above where they can go. So while Bruno Guimaraes is a key to this situation, Eddie Howe deserves so much more respect in terms of how he has leveled up the players around him. Miguel Almiron, right? Joe Linton. You've had a little. There's just some. It's wonderful to see, and
Bruno
I
was
wonder
bought
if it
for
lasts.
42 million. Like it was a pretty good buy. All of a sudden, like 6 months later, we were seeing Real Madrid supposedly were interested to get him straight off the bat. So like, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
You snooze, you lose, Real Madrid, and instead they're gonna turn their attentions to Jude Bellingham. But,
which it is all like they're really contenders for Jude, in my opinion. Like it's ridiculous. Like and it's the fact that Kroos retires, Jude comes. Like what? Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga with Jude. Like, that would make the midfield of Real Madrid the most stacked in the next 5-10 years in today's day and age. Like, Pedri and Gavi, they're great. But those would be elite options, man. It almost makes you like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But, like, it's just, they got 70 million off Casemiro. And it's like, with that 70 million, they can get the money to get a Jude Bellingham if it's 150. It helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
It helps.
And if they miss, they still have Tchouaméni, they still have Camavinga. The only downside to this is when you bring Jude Bellingham in potentially for 150 million or more, where's La Fabrica in this?
True.
Like come on. I know that there are good enough players in that academy, or could be, but they're not getting the same chances that with all the turmoil and the turnover that had to happen at Barcelona that Gavi got, that Pedri got, right? That even the guys that turned it into a new experience, like Ferran Jutgla, winding up at Club Brugge. He actually got a few minutes for Barcelona, and then it became abundantly clear he wasn't going to continue to get those minutes. So he went looking elsewhere, and they were able to make 7-8 million off of a player that probably was not going to do anything. Yeah. So it's La Fabrica is a solid. Yeah, but Jude joining, I agree. So, and especially when you have to contend with what the future is going to look like for Barcelona with Pedri and Gavi, you probably do need a Jude Bellingham because does La Fabrica have Pedri and Gavi in the mix? I don't know. I don't think so.
It's true, and even like Barca have a Pablo Torre too. They managed to snatch two, so it's like it's just Barca are such a well-oiled system already. Even with the scouts, they're everywhere. The Barca scouts are everywhere, and now we see a name of Endrick popping up okay, in South America. And the Barca scouts already know him for like 3-4 years. Like, it's no surprise, man. So we're definitely going to see that release clause of 60 million being bought for Endrick at Palmeiras. Because, getting that start too, right?
Congratulations. Yeah, Endrick got his professional debut for Palmeiras. But that wasn't the coolest part of it. The coolest part of Endrick's debut was actually the video that was released of his dad processing it all, where he was getting emotional and like his hand was shaking trying to videotape it. It was, I mean, that's what it's here for, because unfortunately and fortunately, Endrick's life is going to change. Facts. And it's going to change mostly for the better, hopefully. But yeah, I just hope that whoever signs him protects the hell out of him.
Facts. And I think it's going to be Real, though. I was saying Barca, but we know the pattern, okay? And Real Madrid, like switching from Prem, I'm going down La Liga here as it seems. Yeah. Like Real had a 1-0 win, and Vinicius Jr., man, he's really switched gears this season, man. Vinicius Jr. right now is the top dribbler in La Liga and in the Champions League. And what a way to be playing leading up to the World Cup. Don't be surprised if he's a Ballon d'Or contender if Real Madrid goes far in the Champions League and Brazil goes far in the World Cup. Vinicius at 22 deserves to be in that conversation. And I remember people judging me when I said Rice was worse than Tchouaméni, that I fully believe that. And right now, if you see the efficiency of Real Madrid, it comes because of Tchouaméni with those 7 games, 2 assists, and that ridiculous pass accuracy that makes the right decision making. So I just love this Real Madrid team, how they're the great development, man. Great development.
I think I just need to cut that right there. I just love this Real Madrid team because I think a lot of people in the comments section are gonna be like, "Well, what's happening here?" No, but you can even as a Barca fan, you can appreciate what is building there, because Carlo Ancelotti has not only helped Vinicius Jr. level up, he has helped Rodrigo level up. And all I gotta say is if you can't see the chemistry brewing there, because it's still early, even though they've been together for a while, all you have to do is go back and watch that mashup between Rodrigo, Karim Benzema, back to Rodrigo then to Vinicius, midweek in the Champions League with a beautiful finish, right? Like that type of interplay is exactly what you should see from here on out. Except you might need to substitute Karim Benzema with, I don't know, some other striker that they're going to have to find at some point in the future.
Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland. Ooh, maybe.
It has to be. Who can replace Benzema? Like, legit, in today's day and age, who can replace Benzema?
Especially now that we know Mbappé does not like to play outright striker.
Let's switch to that. So, pivot gang. Like, what was that, Mbappé, okay? Putting on his stories that he doesn't want to play striker. Mate, you're earning 300 million with the contract you got, okay? You should just want the best for the team. Okay, I don't get that. Okay,
not only that, like you're playing football with Neymar. You're playing football with Kylian Mbappé, and you're gonna hashtag pivot gang this crap. Like, he's doing his best impression at like the world's worst villain right now. He is literally trying to get people to not like him. I guess I have no clue.
Well,
but. Or he's trying to counter all the news that Erling Haaland is getting.
And I love that you say the biggest villain, because Sergio Ramos wants to be the biggest villain with red cards. As it seems, man. 28 red cards, the most ever in Champions League history, okay? A player has gotten. And La Liga history. This man is breaking records, Sergio Ramos. I just don't get it, man. But yes, Mbappe though. I understand that he plays better in the French national team with Giroud next to him. But yes, he's got Neymar and Messi. And if you see the first goal against Benfica, the combination between the three was immaculate. So it's just personal beef at this stage with Neymar. I don't get it, like legit. And Neymar, I think, doesn't get it too. But it's the last year. We will definitely not see next season the trio together of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Mbappe will stay, but Messi won't. And I have my doubts with Neymar staying too. But Mbappe will have to, though. You just get that feeling. That they're building a team for after with Mbappe.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem it seems unsustainable. That's for sure. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I guess Mbappe is realizing, he didn't think that there would be some other behemoth eat up all the media headlines left and right. Beyond Kylian Mbappe getting one of the world's largest, if not the world's largest contract in football, getting the keys essentially to the city of Paris, to the country of France. And all of PSG, and also, gets to play with Messi and Neymar. And guess what? He's second tier. He's second tier compared to Erling Haaland right now. Erling Haaland rules everything in world football as it stands. I mean, my guess is that even L'Equipe did not have Kylian Mbappe's pivot gang bullcrap front page. They probably had Erling Haaland scores again.
Well,
so,
he got the 10 rating too in that match in the against Manchester. So that was the testimony of how great he is, man. I think there's only like 15 players that ever got in that 10 rating, and Haaland did that in that Manchester derby game, man. So I love how he switched up. And he says pivot gang Mbappe when Scamacca was like the biggest reference that not Ekitike to go at striker with the PSG. So personally, I don't really understand. But staying in Liga, I just want to give this mention. Dimitri Payet became the first player in Liga to have 100 goals and 100 assists, man. What a legend. And the streets will never forget Dimitri Payet, man. What a baller he was, man. Whoa!
No, man.
And OM, man. I was surprised. 4-1 win, 2 against Sporting 2. Igor Tudor. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of him, but that was a great result. Great result. Sheesh.
Yeah, but then the Champions League hangover happened, and they lost to, I don't know how to say it, but Ajaccio. 2-1. So, yeah, Dimitri Payet, I mean, come on. He's a League One legend. I know his time in West Ham did not work out as well as people wanted him to, and yet he won enough fans at West Ham that people know him and follow him. But 100 goals, 128 assists, and in Ligue 1, and I hope he continues to play. He's 35, right?
Yeah.
But he's not exactly at his best form this particular season. You want to go back to see his best, you go back to last season right now. But Dimitri Payet is a flippin' legend and one I enjoy. I mean, every time he's on the pitch, I enjoy watching
It's facts. And my last shout out with Liga, I just want to say Laurent Blanc, former PSG manager and French national team manager, is going to join Olympique de Lyon. So, people, I'm very, very curious to see how Laurent Blanc is going to play with Lacazette now, back to his boyhood club. Tolisso, back to his boyhood club. Ekambi, Moussa Dembele, Ryan Cherki. And I just want to see Malo Gusto. Remember this player right back, okay? And Tete, very good team. So let's see what Laurent Blanc does.
And what a signing that has been, right? Bringing in Tete, because he's been kind of one of their better players this whole season so far. But if you're gonna shout out Lyon, I have to shout out, first off, Stade Rennais is on a very nice run of form as it stands, and they're using a bunch of young guys. Come on, we love Jeremy Doku, we love Sulemana, we love some of their young academy-born guys, but you know what? That's not really the story in France. PSG can PSG all they want, right? But right now, the story in France is up in I think it's in the Breton region. Yes, there is a Breton region of France. That's what I'm named after. But Lorient, orange and black team, right? Okay. They were relegation fodder last season. I'm actually shocked that they actually survived Ligue 1. Okay. But they have a breakout performance or a breakout season so far from this young kid, 20-year-old Dango Ouattara, who plays winger for them, that if you don't know him now, you're going to know him once PSG picks him up for 20 million. Okay. Or Lyon or Stade Rennais or one of them, somebody in Ligue 1 will get him. But also Terem Moffi, who people will see with Nigeria. They also have Enzo Lefebvre, great player. Anyway, why am I bringing this up? Because last season they were like bottom of the table, pretty close to that. This season, they're literally almost at the top of the table. They're 7-1-1 out of 9 games. I think they even won again today, or may have drawn. But like they're really turning the tables. And you got to give credit where credit's due. And you come here to this podcast to learn something like that instead of just talking about the same people all the time.
Love
Got to
it.
give credit to Laurent, and hopefully it continues because I want this story to continue. But anyway, enough about Ligue 1. Where do you want to go next?
Yes, that's a bold shout out, and it's a new shout out. And yes, we're changing things up, and I want to say so Bundesliga, so we'll go to, and their Klassiker happened, but I want to first talk about something that for me is going to change a club in the Bundesliga. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to go bold and say, Bayer Leverkusen with Xabi Alonso, I think they'll be top 4 in the Bundesliga this season. I believe in that. 4-0 win. Okay, I was convinced with how they played. Xabi Alonso, football heritage, teach this manager, man. He's got Guardiola in the past, Mourinho in the past, Ancelotti in the past. And Xabi Alonso has, I gotta say, one of the best teams in the world with Wonderkids with Leverkusen. You got talents like Musa Diaby, Hincapi, Tapsoba, Florian Wirtz, Adam Holzek, Frimpong. Like the amount of talent that Leverkusen has is ridiculous. And I think Xabi Alonso, he can put that magic, man. Class manager and a class team to go with it. So I've got big aspirations for Xabi Alonso this season. I believe. So
you think Xabi Alonso is going to Xavi Bayer Leverkusen, or do you think Xabi Alonso is going to Frank Lampard Leverkusen? Just kidding. Frank Lampard's doing okay with Everton. Exactly. He's doing okay with Everton this season, so I should not make that joke at all. But hey, listen, Xabi Alonso right now, we know him as an intelligent player. We know him as part of one of the most ridiculous transfer windows ever. I think it was, 2009, 2010, when Real Madrid brought in Xabi Alonso, CR7, brought in Karim Benzema, brought in Kaká. I mean, all for like 200 million euros, which back then is like $570 billion. He was Raul Albiol, which is, kind of an underrated player there, but just kidding. Xabi Alonso, when it comes down to it, Xabi Alonso has 100 games under his belt for Real Sociedad's B team, okay, for their reserves. So as a manager, the boat has not yet sailed. So I'm really interested to see how this sign
bold prediction
goes. But you could have also gone for a Julian. I can't say his last name.
Lopetegui, no, man.
Lopetegui, thank you.
Nah, I'm not feeling him. I'm not feeling him.
You could have, but Xabi Alonso, I mean, this was a team, Bayer Leverkusen, Champions League, all this good stuff. They were projected to kind of build upon that progress. And I'm gonna take the other side of your little bet there, saying they finished top 4. Do you see how crappy they have started the season? They're gonna have to go on a ridiculously amazing run of form for them to even sniff the top 4. And I want to be wrong about it, but I'm going to take the other side of it and say there's no damn way. But Xabi Alonso is a bold choice at manager. That's for damn sure. Definitely. I just don't know if it's going to work out. But they have, with that win, they popped out of the relegation zone. They still have a Champions League possibility to get out of their group. It's still in flux, so they still got a lot to play for. And I wish all the best.
That Porto game, 2-0 win, and Patrick Schick, man, Diogo Costa managed to save that pen, and that's the start of the end with the manager. But it's true, 2-2, man. Dortmund, Bayern Munich, what a match it was. Late winner from Modest, okay? And Schlotterbeck, really, man. He found that assist at late stages for that last minute win. And I got to say, Schlotterbeck, man, after that game, understandably so, he's got to be mentioned much, much more. But the player I got to shout out from their Klassiker is Moukoko, okay? Moukoko has 3 goals and 3 assists in 459 minutes for Dortmund, okay? He deserves more respect, Moukoko. And put him in that plane, man, to Qatar. Trust the youth, die Mannschaft, okay? Karim Adeyemi, Moukoko, Wirtz. Play the youth, okay? So I just wanted to give that shout out to Moukoko.
It's a great shout out because it takes a lot to overshadow what Jamal Musiala does on the field and what Jude Bellingham does on the field.
Still got an assist too, Musiala.
I mean, Musiala did all the Jamal Musiala things that you expect. It was Bayern that threw it away, and frankly, the dear Klassiker, I mean, it needed something like that. I thought Bayern was just going to walk away with it once they got their first, and they didn't. And Bayern might be going through maybe a little bit of an injury run right now, but
yes,
Borussia Dortmund, as expected. I mean, come on, they're without some of their best players. Reina didn't play. Royce not playing. They've got a lot of injuries as well, which is why Moukoko is getting his extended chance. And he became the youngest goal scorer ever in Der Klassiker history with that nice finish. So at 17 years old, he's also the leading scorer, as you mentioned, for Dortmund this season, which is pretty awesome. But come on. Moukoko, the fact that Musiala was on the pitch, the fact that Bellingham was on the pitch, that's always going to draw in eyeballs.
And Jude captain, man. Jude captain in their Klassiker, man.
Yeah.
An Englishman, 19-year-old midfielder conquering in Germany, man. This is 2022 we're living, man. Unbelievable. At 19, Jude Bellingham, it's just justified the 150 million that he's gonna go. Like, unbelievable. But I gotta say though, Jude Bellingham 150 makes Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Man City having that bidding war. That I don't know who's gonna win it. And United too, man. Imagine if Jude Bellingham just decides to go to United and to be the fulcral player of that midfield in the future in that rebuild. Donny van de Beek in the mud, Scott McTominay in the mud, and Jude Bellingham a predominance. So it's going to be, if that happens, man, you never know. But they have to give him a huge contract.
Donny van de Beek, man. You mentioning Donny van de Beek. Do we have to put out like a APB for him? Search party? Send a search party?
But
Poor guy.
But if Jude Bellingham looks at what happened to Cristiano Ronaldo, he'll go to Man City, okay, ahead of Man United. But because imagine if Ronaldo had gone to Man City 1 season previous to Haaland, man. He would have elite numbers too. So, man, it's just so sad. That decision!
But you know what's really interesting to me? We keep talking about Jude Bellingham and his price tag because there's all these rumors swirling about this being his last full season with Dortmund, so on and so forth. And yet, if we're talking about the price tag for Jude Bellingham, what would it cost to pry Jamal Musiala away from Bayern?
I'd say 200, easy.
Oh, gosh.
But who gets him though? Who gets him? Real? I think he's untouchable right now, the Jamal Musiala. Simply.
Yeah.
And if he had chosen to be an English player, like English nationality instead of Germany, I think the English clubs would be all of them thinking, oh my days, we can have the next English player getting a Ballon d'Or type beat. Because the question is, who has a better potential? Jamal Musiala or Phil Foden? Like, I gotta say right now.
Musiala.
Yeah. But Foden is ridiculous too. Like, so it's but the Ballon d'Or potential there is I give it. That's the amount. That's the amount.
I'm just saying we keep talking about Todd Bowley, and this is like exactly the type of adventure he'd sign up for. He'd say 200 million for Jamal Musiala. Let's do it.
But I think Nkunku 50 or 60 is good though. But imagine, I love the question of how much is it needed for Jamal Musiala to leave Bayern. Put down below, man. Do you think it's even possible? And you show that you're listening to us until now. But I want to mention Serie A and all this, Bretson, because man, Allegri ball is not. It's not bold. It's definitely not bold. It's horrific. Okay, he's got 2 wins in his last 8 games in Serie A. A team like Juve, the team that spends the most in salaries. That can't happen, man. Allegri has to be out. It doesn't make sense, man.
It's financial blackmail. That's what it is. I think there's maybe too much of a termination clause or too much of a fat paycheck that would go to Allegri for him to leave. I don't know for sure, but that's certainly what it feels like. Because with the players he has, he should be doing a whole lot better. I don't really get it. But the funny thing is that you got Juventus playing actually decent football midweek, right? In the Champions League.
But then they lay an egg.
lay an egg against AC Milan, and like literally a game that they should not lay an egg in.
Mm-hmm.
So big credit to AC Milan though, coming back from that
Tomori, first
terrible
goal this
performance.
season. First goal this
Tomori,
season, man. I was shocked.
yes,
And it's
yes.
not the best
But like,
team. It's not even the AC Milan. It wasn't even their best team. No
but
Calabria, no Teo. Like, what?
exactly. And the funny thing is we're sitting here, we're talking about like them, AC Milan laying an egg midweek, playing really well against Juventus over the weekend. Juventus playing well with Angel Di Maria with 3 assists midweek, already with a little bit of a rift with Allegri, not being played the way he wants to play.
No, that's true.
And then over the weekend, kind of nothing going on. And you know who's not impressing me in all of this?
Who? McKennie.
Dusan Vlahovic.
Sorry. Thought you were going to go for McKennie.
Weston McKennie is leaving a lot to be desired as well. But Dusan Vlahovic is not impressing me. He disappeared this season against Monza. He's disappeared this season against Benfica. He's disappeared this season against Milan, against Salernitana, against PSG, against Sampdoria. Okay? He's had 1 or 2 decent games. He's scored a couple times. But his... is it Allegri's fault, or is it Vlahovic as well, or is it a combination of the two? Vlahovic is not getting the ball, and that is going to hurt him long term. It might even hurt his Serbian form, because he has no problem scoring in Serbian setup, but in Juventus's setup, he is not doing... His best match of the season was day 1 versus Sassuolo.
And, like, you're saying this, and, like, Di Maria managed to break an ridiculous stat, and this is, like... only Cristiano Ronaldo has more assists in Champions League history than Di Maria. He's second ever in assists. And Allegri can't play this man the right way. Di Maria is one of the most underrated players in all history of football, in my opinion, man. Copa America was won because of Di Maria, and if Juve are going to go bold and go through against Benfica, that I don't think it will happen, it's with their trusting Di Maria in a much better way, and Vlahovic too. But they're not going to go through, Brenton. They're not going to go through, for sure. Napoli, man, they should learn from Napoli. 6-1 win to Ajax, beating Liverpool like Rangers and Menace 2. You got Kvisha, Anguissa, Raspadori, Simeone. Napoli though, I just can't. This is unbelievable.
And how much money was spent there for all those players you just mentioned?
Facts, and they still managed to get a profit, man.
Right.
With Koulibaly leaving, Mertens, Insigne salaries out.
The only thing we have to figure out is this just the beginning of the season, and will it eventually slide off? But no, I mean, I don't think so, because Raspadori is not going to be at the World Cup. Kavica Kvaratskhelia is not going to be at the World Cup. You've got a lot of these players that are going to get to regroup, even build a stronger bond together. Another shout out would go to Lobotka.
Oh yes,
phenomenally for them. I mean, they've really, it's another version of, we talked about Eddie Howe with Newcastle. Spalletti has leveled up the players that he's been given, and you got to give him credit. It's not his first time around with this squad, but he was faced with having to get younger, and he embraced the challenge and embraced the coaching challenge instead of backing away from it and bitching and moaning about it. But the funny thing is, it's like we're talking about Napoli, we're talking about AC Milan, rightfully so because of their Scudetto winners. We're talking about Juve because we know that they should be punching more above their weight than what they are right now. And yet, we haven't said a word about the team that is still unbeaten, in Serie A, along with Napoli, and that is who? That is Atalanta. This is a team that we all thought was going to be stepping away from the limelight, right? The years of them scoring 6-7 goals in a game where they just had this high-octane offense all the time between Malinovsky and, I'm going to forget names, Luis Muriel and Zapata, and just some phenomenal names.
Gozens.
Yeah, and was it a Serbian guy or Slovakian? Who was that guy? He just retired, or he went back to his home. I forget who it is. Who he's no longer there. Ivanic. Yes. Mirko Ivanic, I think was his name. But anyway, Atalanta right now. Okay, they have conceded 4 goals.
Yes.
In Serie A. Okay, they are unbeaten away. They are unbeaten at home. Okay. And they were doing it, ready for this? They're doing it with a defense, with an average age of about 21 years old. Okay. You've got Marie Demiral, who we all know. Juventus could have kept him. They decided not to. They shipped him off. Okay. Marie Demiral. You've got Giorgio Scalvini, 18-year-old. Okay. And you've got Caleb Okoli, a 21-year-old, that have been putting in phenomenal shifts for Atalanta. And they are not scoring as many goals as they used to, right? They are not relying on Zapata to score 25 goals in a game or something like that. They've scored 14 goals up against like 4 goals or 5 goals conceded this season. They are winning away. They are winning at home. And I looked at this and I'm like, these guys are phenomenal away. They go away from Bergamo and they win more often than not. Case in point, last year they did not have a good season. You want to know why? Their home form, Atalanta in Serie A, their home form, absolutely abysmal. 4 wins, 7 losses, 8 draws.
Oy.
You want to know the only reason they salvaged an okay season last season was because their away record was 12 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws.
Ooh.
I don't know if that says something about the coach. I don't know if it says something about the setup, but they're punching above their weight, and them and Udinese deserve a lot more credit for their beginning of the season than maybe us just talking about AC Milan all the time, which is a great team to talk about. But anyway, Atalanta, you deserve our respect. I am watching you because you are with Napoli at the top of the league currently.
That's a great shout out. And my last shout out would say, yeah, man. I really think Todd Boehly's gonna pay the 80 million of Tammy Abraham, man. That buyback clause is very, very desirable as it seems, and I am sure Roma, great deal by getting him for 40. But now I think Chelsea are gonna get him next summer for 80 million. Todd Boehly era striker with Brugge and with Tammy Abraham, man. That's not bad decisions, man. And Nkunku and Tammy next summer coming to Chelsea, not bad at all. Graham Potter magic.
Pretty good. That'd be pretty good. But there's a certain player that I've been watching this week, and I'm going to go #pivot gang here. I'm going to pivot on you because there's a player that has really caught my attention. I've mentioned him before. You and I talk about him quite a bit because his come up has happened in the Primera Liga with Porto.
Okay.
Like Tammy Abraham is great, but 80 million for Tammy Abraham. Okay. Darwin Núñez, great. He probably will come good for Liverpool at some point, but 80 to 100 million for Darwin Núñez. Okay. Then the whole time they've been overlooking, right? You plucked Darwin Núñez out of the Primera Liga, okay? Tammy Abraham, you have some history with there at Chelsea, but I don't know, okay? Mehdi Taremi. I know he's 30 years old, okay? I know he's 30 years old. I know he plays for a national team that not everybody follows, Iran. All right? And it's very unlikely that the majority of Iran never really goes abroad and they play for Esteghlal or Persepolis or some other teams within their borders, okay? I understand all this. But Mehdi Taremi put in a better year, potentially, than Darwin Núñez last year. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
In terms of stats, you better. In terms of stats, better. And goals, like Taremi, man, I gotta say it's the age, right? Taremi is a player that, like, with time, I think people will give him the credit where credit's due. And for Porto, man, I gotta say, Taremi is one of the best players I've seen at Porto in recent history, man. What a player in Primera Liga. Assists, goals, highly involved. Highly involved.
And just to frame it, you're right. It is age. It definitely is age, but he's only 30 when it comes down to it. And he's been getting better as he ages, as it stands. And my guess is you would not have to pay 60 or 70 or 80 million for him. Okay. You obviously would probably only spend, 20, 30 to get this man for 3-4 years. A guy that had 43 goal involvements last season for Porto. Okay. And the only reason Darwin Núñez had more was because he went ham in the Champions League last season. Right? So Taremi at 30, in my opinion, is a better striker than Darwin Núñez. I'm going to say it right now. Obviously, Darwin Núñez has a much higher ceiling, much higher ceiling. But this guy, the only reason he does not get the respect he deserves as it stands, because he's been doing this the last 4 or 5 years. Okay? Only reason is because of his age, and I'm going to say it, because he's from Iran.
Facts.
It's that simple.
I agree with you,
know?
though. I have to agree with you, though. Taremi has to be in an 11 of the most underrated players in today's game. I have to agree with that. Factush. And you're mentioning Taremi. I got to mention here Benfica, okay? Because Benfica, right now, they're unbeaten, okay? Not even a PSG with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe can stop Benfica right now. 16 games unbeaten, 14 wins, and 2 draws with 9 clean sheets. Roger Schmidt ball is real, and I gotta give a special shout out again. Antonio Silva will definitely be called up for Portugal this World Cup. Because my question is, what could have Antonio Silva done to be called up by Fernando Santos? Pocketed Mbappe? Pocketed Neymar? Like what? Played an amazing game against Juve? He did it. So Fernando Santos, no excuses, and call up Antonio Silva. Just like I gotta say, no excuses, Argentina. Enzo Fernandez this weekend had against Rio Ave. Enzo Fernandez in 45 minutes had 7 key passes and 1 assist with 100% pass accuracy. No mistakes in a half, and all progressive passes, man. Ridiculous impact by Enzo Fernandez. And at 22, he is definitely one of the best midfielders in his age group in the world. Jude Bellingham's going to leave for 150. Enzo is at least going to leave for 80 million. Benfica. 80 million, Benfica. And considering Mateus Nunes left Sporting for 45, you do not play with Benfica in the transfer market, man. 126 with John Felix, and the 80 for Darwin Nunes. Potential 100, too.
And the bigger question, I guess, is where does Enzo go next? But he just got there. Let's give him some time. He just got there.
He's going to leave next summer, I think, Breton, already, man.
Yeah, he probably will. He probably will. And the funny thing is that could have been... remember, we were talking about this with his compatriot at River. We were talking about it with Julian Alvarez.
True.
We all thought Julian Alvarez was going to go to Porto or Benfica first. Before then he jumped over to Man City, and you're kind of happy to see that it's kind of working out for him. But I 100% agree with you about Enzo. I'm going to say this about Antonio Silva, okay? It is not Antonio Silva's fault if he does not get called up for Portugal to the World Cup. The reasons have nothing to do with his playing ability. The reasons have everything to do with the fact that you have a dinosaur that is running your team, okay? And my guess is that if Pep can even walk or breathe, he likely will be on that roster before Antonio Silva, okay? And probably some other players. He might replace Gonzalo Inacio going...
No, I gotta say this, man. Antonio Silva is better, much better than Gonzalo Inacio right now. Well, and he's 18. He's 18.
But you were telling me Gonzalo Inacio is one of the best ball playing for his age center back.
Under 21s. I'm going to state it again. I really think ball playing ability, Gonzalo Inacio, one of the best under 22s. But Antonio Silva, he's an anomaly right now in today's game and age.
He is an anomaly
and at
right
18, 2003 born at center back. And I gotta give a shout out to Otamendi with all this. Otamendi is covering the little mistakes he does, but the ball playing ability he has. Antonio Silva playing makes a player like Gonçalo Ramos play better with those passes he does to him. So overall, I just think, and for how much he's gonna leave too, man. It's not gonna be the 60 of Ruben Dias. Antonio's gonna be more too. So say Shalpa. Just wait with Xerendur. People are gonna know about him. Just wait. And Henrique Araújo had the extension at the same time as Antonio. So 2027, both locked in though that contract extension. Before all this hype, man, Antonio Silva. Yeah. So Benfica knew what to do there.
They definitely did know what to do with him there. But before we move on from Benfica and get to some other shout-outs, I love the partnership that has been kind of forming between Gonçalo Ramos and Enzo Fernandez. And I think that deserves a shout because Gonçalo Ramos, while sure, he could have played better so far this season, but the man already has, 10 goals already, 6 assists this season. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What
He's doing
underrated,
it.
man. And he's not just goals. He's a complete package. Puts pressure, great dribbler. I really like Gonçalo Ramos, man. And they kept him. They had a 30 to 40 million bid from clubs like Wolves, PSG, reportedly. And Benfica said, no, we'll keep him because we can go through in the Champions League. And yes, Benfica will, man. Juve in the mud.
Yeah. Well, of course, Wolves, right? Wolves looked at Fabio Silva, said 40 million, didn't work out. Let's go for Gonçalo Ramos now.
True.
I think Fabio Silva scored again for Anderlecht, so he's getting his feet under him.
He's gonna have like 10 goal involvements until December. 10 goals until December, definitely.
Well, I'll tell you what. If we're gonna continue to talk about how Benfica is unbeaten and having a phenomenal start to the season, we got to kind of jump on over maybe to Belgium. And just briefly, I know they laid an egg again this weekend in the league. Shocking loss to Westerlo, 2-0 from Club Brugge. But Club Brugge in the Champions League? Club Brugge in the Champions League? They've got 9 points out of 9. They are one of 2 teams to have not let up a goal yet in the Champions League. Third straight clean sheet. It's Mignolet, former Liverpool player, former Liverpool goalkeeper, Mignolet. Kind of an ignominious end for Mignolet at Liverpool, is doing wonders for Club Brugge. And only one other team has that same record, 3 wins, no goals conceded, and that's Bayern Munich. So I just think you have to kind of look at some of their players. We say it the same way we have love for Primera Liga, the same way I'm trying to build Major League Soccer's image as a selling league, the same way we look at the Eredivisie. I look at the Jupiler Pro League in Belgium because these are the stars of the future. Ferran Jutgla is 23, is a little older, right? But he is having the beginning of the season after leaving his home, leaving Barcelona, leaving La Masia, going there for 8-9 million. He is definitely one of the bargains so far this season. And when we finally do our top 10, he might even be in my top 10.
He is in my top 10.
But Ferran Jutgla, is he really? Okay.
Yeah. He really is.
But like,
how cheap he
Jutgla,
was.
I know.
Like
Andreas Skov Olsen.
I like that.
You know, like they just have some phenomenal players. They have some guys in the academy too that they've been giving chances to. I forget his name, but at center back, he's got to start and his Champions League debut this past week at center back. They've got Tejan Buchanan and Kyle Larin from the Canadian national team. But come on, Club Brugge, if you put money on it, your odds that they'd be, 3 wins out of 3 with no goals conceded, it would have been astronomical. You put $1 down, you're probably getting 500 back.
Well, in a group with Athletic, Leverkusen, and Porto, like, pretty good job. I thought they were going to be last, honestly. Yeah. So I was pretty surprised to see how are they performing. So I like that show. But yeah, my last shot. Oh, sorry. You're going to say something, Brenton?
No, I mean, at the end, at least with 3 wins, they've got, at worst, if they lose the rest of their 3, they're either still sneaking through or they've got Europa League, and they could do pretty well in the Europa League with who they've got. So kudos to Club Brugge. Kudos to all Belgian clubs because we always, you and I, we know this, we always have our eye on those Belgian leagues because that's where you got some really, really good players that start brewing.
And look who left, man. Yeah. Club Brugge, Charles de Ketelaere, the star boy to Milan. And they get Ferran Jutgla, the new one. So I was pretty good management by Club Brugge. But my last shout out here in the pod, man. You're going in this underrated other leagues. So I'll go with you with that. And I go with my special shout out for this pod. And it's Cody Gakpo. That at the age of 23, he has 15 games, 12 goals, and 10 assists, matching the stat level of Erling Haaland. And that is extremely, extremely bold. Cody Gakpo has to be one of the most attractive players to get next January and next summer, okay? And in my opinion, Cody Gakpo and Xavi Simons is the best talent duo in today's day and age right now playing. Like Xavi Simons too, man. Xavi Simons has 8 goals and 4 assists. And the impact has been immense. And in such a short period of time, leaving PSG, now to the Eredivisie too, man. What a player, man. Xavi Simons.
Yeah, and Gakpo is wanted by pretty much every club in the Premier League. We know that Arsenal and Manchester United have shown real interest. Arsenal more so. But there's also been rumblings as of late, and I don't know how much of this is just media jostling, that it's Leeds United that has apparently landed personal terms with Cody Gakpo.
Woo!
Now, whether or not that
sticks,
whether or not that sticks, they lost out on the Ketelaere. They lost out on some other big targets that they really had their eyes on. They brought in Sinistera, so it's not exactly surprising that they would go back to the Eredivisie. It fits Jesse Marsch's style of play. True. But hey, listen, we'd all be talking about Cody Gakpo right now if it weren't for Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is just screwing up the airwaves and the radio waves of literally every football podcast. He's just mucking up the system. No, but come on. Cody Gakpo, 12 goals, 10 assists, 22 goal involvements. Yes, that's very simple arithmetic. But he is the first player to go double digits in the top 7 leagues. He's the first player to go double digits in goals and the first player to go double digits in assists so far this season. And at 23, he's got a lot more to come. And yes, you can come at both of us with quality of opponent. You can come at us with quality of opponent. I know Volendam is not the same as playing Southampton or playing whatever.
But still, man, you still got to score those goals and make those assists happen. Like, what? I'm shook, man. Cody Gakpo, man, at the age of 23, how is he still at PSV? He wasn't putting these numbers, but he was putting pretty good numbers beforehand, too. So, like,
dude,
oh, man.
And he's been there since he was, born.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that warms your heart a little bit, too, because he's been a kind of a one-club player. But his big move is coming. And Facts. I think he's done. I think he's got a role. Cody Gakpo has a role to play for the Netherlands in the upcoming World Cup.
I agree with that.
100%.
I think Newcastle would be the best landing spot for Cody Gakpo. Personally.
That'd be a big signing.
Yeah,
that'd
imagine
be a big signing.
Isaac and Cody Gakpo. Like, that would be such a good attack. Like, the attack rate would be woof. So, yeah, that's my last shout-out. So, do you have any last shout-out, Bretson, here?
I just got a couple. Ricardo Pepi. Okay, one of the big things coming up at the World Cup here for the U.S. men's national team is who the hell is going to start at striker, right? And there's been kind of some good things brewing. And Ricardo Pepi moved to Augsburg for 20 million euros. It has not worked out so far, and Augsburg is just an abysmal team to watch. Although they've played better as of late. Anyway. He got a loan to the Eredivisie. He plays for Groningen, where, Arjen Robben earned his stripes, where a bunch of really good young players have done really well. Suarez was there. Oh, my gosh. I forgot about that. Yes. Van Dijk, yes. All wearing that just ghastly green. But Groningen, he's the first player in the 21st century, so since 2000, first player to have 5 goal involvements in his first 4 games in the Eredivisie. Okay. And he is doing that. He's got 4 goals, 1 assist in his first 5 games. And all I can say is, regardless of records aside, regardless of milestones, it's just great to see him building his confidence again, because if he can be a wild card, him along with Josh Sargent, who's at the top of the English Championship in goal involvements, 7 goal involvements so far this season, or 8 goal involvements, I think. It is just great to see these guys, young guys still. Pepe's 19, Sargent's 21 or 22. These guys just need it heading in, because we need it. If we can't get a striker, it's going to be all on Christian Pulisic. It's going to be all on these other guys, and I'm hoping this is the start of something fun. But that aside, we'll see what happens. The last thing I need to mention is this is a massive, massive, massive step forward for women's football. The first, we call it soccer-specific stadium here, because, there's any number of sports you can throw in a stadium, right? So you could build a stadium for cricket and then have women's football play there. Now, the first women's football soccer-specific stadium is being built in and around Kansas City, because they have, one, the funding, the financing, but they also have, you ready for this? the people. The people want it. And when the people want it, that is huge for women's football, not just in Kansas City, not just in the United States, but all around the world. And I'm hoping that what we saw brewing at Barcelona with the issues that have come out since then, not so good with the Spanish national team, but I'm hoping that all the people that went to see Barcelona, all the people that went to see the Super League, the Women's Super League in England, and all the people that are flocking to the NWSL with Angel City FC and some of these other great clubs, including the Kansas City Current, I'm hoping that this is just the start of something big for women's football.
It really is, man. You get a feeling it is. And that Euros win of England, like, that was unbelievable. At Wembley, too, like, it gave hope to the English fans that they really needed it. So that stadium, that U.S. soccer stadium, being built, like, it's a great sign. But Barca, though, Camp Nou. Hopefully those memories, man, with Alexia start coming, man, even more and more, because Alexia is the best women's player in the world right now, as it seems.
Without a doubt.
So yes,
without a doubt.
If you're listening until now to episode 76, thank you for listening until now, and show us your support in that like button on YouTube, people, and just say, what did we miss? What did we miss here? And say in the YouTube comment section. We want to see those comments, man. Oh, sorry, Brenton.
There's one thing we missed before you sign off, before you say goodbye. We'll talk about the Euro qualifiers in the future and who Portugal drew.
Yes.
But, I know we've been teasing something over the last 2 episodes. And if you're listening up until now, a couple people guessed it right. And I'm sorry, I don't have their names in front of us. But yes, I will be taking the trip to see and meet Alex for the first time. And how long have we known each other? 4 years? 5 years?
I think 5 to 6. Yeah.
5 years. Woo!
Crazy.
But we've only been doing FC Wonderkid for some time. We were doing FB Wonderkids before that. But for the first time, I will meet Alex face to face. About a month from now, and actually almost exactly a month from now. And all I gotta say is we are there to work.
Yes.
We are there to put on turbocharge our World Cup content, to do a bunch of lives. I want to meet some people, people that read us, that view us on a regular basis. I want to go out in Lisbon. I want to everybody to show me what Portugal is all about. So any Portugal readers, viewers, followers here, drop me some things I got to do, because I'll be there for 4 days, hanging out in the studio with a little bit of downtime to go check out, all the sites. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to meet this man.
And this Benfica should be sit. We can say it. We're gonna be in. We're gonna be in there. Yes. So if you're gonna watch Benfica Juve sit, we will be there too, and probably with a camera there, so you have a chance to go bold on that mic. And we will definitely we will be saying our story, man, because FC Wonderkid is an idea of 5 years of work that we had via Young Page about talents too. That we're really proud of that work too with FB Wonderkid. So yes, people, thank you, Brenton. I almost forgot to mention that bold fact that it's gonna be amazing. And tell us in the comment section down below the content that we must film. Like, who's gonna win the Ballon d'Or after a Benzema type beat? Maybe tell us the content you want to see. But yes, if you're here until now, don't forget to like this video, episode 76, and community. Thank you so much for going bold on a weekly basis. Thank you, and sign out.